Hey, this is Avi for The Art of Nothing, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the definition of improvisational comedy. Improvisation, noun. The act of making something up as it is performed. And we're talking about the context of theater, dance, and music. Improvise, the verb, to improvise. To fabricate something out of what is conveniently on hand. So those are two very, very interesting and foundational definitions of what improvisation comedy is. And it's important to understand and know these definitions because in the next episodes we're going to be exploring and taking these definitions with us to further improve our understanding of improvisational comedy and how you can become a better improviser and how you can connect it with, spirituality. And I'm putting those in quotes for different reasons, which I'll explain later. But how you can use improvisation as a way of accessing who you actually are, your being, if you will. But don't worry about any of that stuff now. These episodes are just going to be focused on becoming a better improviser and having these tools to understand and deepen your practice of improvisational comedy, whether you're new, returning, or you've done some improv in the past. But essentially, at the core of improvisational comedy, it's something we do, right? It's an action. It's something we collaborate with others on, something we do with others, but also it's something that we do with ourselves. And a lot of people actually aren't aware of the improv that we do with ourselves, and I'll talk about that a little bit. The first part, obviously, the improv that we do with others is obvious, right? We work with our scene partners to build scenes, to build interesting stories, to build characters, and we explore those with other people. That's obvious. But the improv that we do with ourselves is much more subtle. It's much more, how do I say, not as noticeable as one might think. And these directly connect to the definitions that they gave at the beginning of this video. So when we improvise with ourselves, I mean, in a nutshell, when we're on stage and we're thinking about what we're going to be saying, right? And we're having that dialogue between our heads between our head or heads, if you have to, of what we're going to be saying and what we're going to be doing. And a lot of people kind of miss that dialogue, right? We just kind of, we know it's happening. We know that it's going on in our minds, but we're not aware of it. We're not fully aware of it. And to go a little bit deeper with a different definition, improvisational comedy is the honest discovery, the observation, and the reaction to what's happening in this moment, and then in this moment, and then in this moment. So it's a continual process of discovery without necessarily thinking about what's going to happen next. Which brings me back to my definition of doing. When you're doing, you're not thinking, right? When you're on stage just doing improv, you're not necessarily thinking about it. Now, I'm going to read a different definition for you guys, one that I really, really like. And this is a little bit more existential. It's a more abstract definition of what improv is and what we can explore together when we do improv. So this abstract definition of improvisational comedy, here we go. You can't describe improv, right? It needs to be experienced for oneself to truly see and feel it. Now, that's not really a direct definition, but it's a little bit more abstract, and I want to work with this because I think it can get us to a different, more deeper, full definition where we can connect all of these together. So, what do I mean by this, right? What do I mean by it needs to be experienced for oneself to truly see it and feel it? If you've ever been in the audience of an improv show, and if you're watching this video, I'm pretty sure you have, you'll realize that you sit there and you laugh to what's happening on stage. You're an observer of what's happening on stage, right? And you don't necessarily know what's going to be happening, right? If it's good improv, if it's true improv. So to actually do improv comedy is to truly see it and feel it for yourself. So you're on stage and you're actually moving from moment to moment to moment to moment, and you're actually doing it with yourself and with others. Now, this can be behavioral. This can be, physical movements. This can be emotional reactions. This could be a whole variety of things, right? And if you're truly doing improv, right, you're not pre-proving or pre-planning what you're going to be saying backstage or the day before your show. You're not memorizing scripts. You're not watching funny videos on YouTube or in movies to get ideas from. You're not, talking with your buddies on stage. I've seen that a lot. You're not talking with your buddies on stage while there's a scene happening of what you're going to be doing and what you're going to be saying. That's not true improv. I'm talking about true improvisational comedy. Something that is so moment to moment that when you're doing it, you're not even aware that you're doing it, right? But the key here is to master that awareness, to see that you're doing it in real time. And that's something that's beautiful, because when you're doing true improvisational comedy and you're aware of it, it's a game changer. It's a completely different experience, because you're not thinking about what's going to be happening next. You're not going to be thinking about what just happened. You're only in this moment, and you're only going to be in the next moment, and that's all you know. So that, in a nutshell, is kind of a surface level definition of improv comedy, but also a kind of a deeper level of improvisational comedy. And they both connect, all these definitions connect on some level. The more abstract ones are obviously a little bit more harder to understand, but hopefully with more videos that I'll be coming out with and producing, I want to explore those abstract definitions, because I just think there is so much potential for improvisational comedy to have a impact on your entire life, whether it's personal development or your spiritual growth or your meditation practices, because improvisational comedy offers us a chance to see in real time who we actually are as beings, and we get to experience being and doing instead of thinking about being or thinking about doing. So that's really, really exciting. And, please stick around and click the subscribe button for me. And I'll see you in the next chapter. Thank you so much.